Welcome to the NBA 411. I'm Alex Loeb. And now that March Madness has dwindled down to the Final Four, our experts and bloggers have gotten a great look at some of the top NBA prospects and whether their draft status has gone up or down in the big dance. Let's tip things off with ESPN LA columnist Ramona Shelburne.
Well, for about 10 minutes on Sunday, while we all waited to see whether Anthony Davis had suffered some sort of catastrophic knee injury, I suppose there was something that he could have done to mess up his draft stock in the NCAA tournament. But as soon as Davis came back onto the floor and helped lead Kentucky to its Final Four appearance, the win over Baylor, all was right in the world, and Davis was back in line to be the consensus #1 overall pick in this June's NBA draft. I mean, he's already a defensive menace, blocking about 5 shots a game and sometimes more in Kentucky's biggest games, which speaks to his competitiveness. But he's also got the perimeter skills of a guard, because he actually was a guard until a couple of years ago. Between his junior and senior years of high school, he grew 7 inches from 6'3" to 6'10". It's for all of those reasons and about 100 more that Anthony Davis is the consensus #1 overall pick in this June's draft. Right now, the Charlotte Bobcats would be in line for that, but whichever team ends up with that pick, they're taking Anthony Davis.
Terrence Jones had 12 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists in Kentucky's win over Baylor over the weekend. But the number that impresses me the most is that he was able to do all this on only 7 shot attempts. Jones plays on a team with some NBA-ready players, so the fact that he can stuff the stat sheet, manage the game, all while not feeling the need to take over, will be a welcome sign by whomever drafts him. Chad Ford has him going 17th to the Celtics, and I, for one, cannot be happier. The Celtics need a dynamic and versatile wing player to step in when Paul Pierce eventually retires, and Jones could definitely be that guy.
Andrew Bogut's gone to Milwaukee. It's time to rebuild that front court. How about Perry Jones out of Baylor? Now, I'm not the biggest Perry Jones fan in the world, but it's hard to deny his talent. He's a solid rebounder who can score from anywhere on the floor. Now, the problem is he's a bit passive and doesn't seem to care on defense. It's like a saloon door. If you propped open a saloon door and it never thought about rotating from the weak side. Yeah, that works. Maybe Scott Skiles is the guy to make him a ferocious deer after all. You know, Bambi with a mean streak or something.
The loud pop you just heard was my ACL tearing as I fell off the Harrison Barnes bandwagon. I mean, come on, this guy just turned into a pumpkin. Or better yet, he turned into Marvin Williams, which is exactly what he did not need to do. I mean, once he lost Kendall Marshall, this guy looked absolutely ordinary, while players all around him looked extraordinary. So, Harrison Barnes is out. I guess the Kings are looking for someone else.
And just to refresh your memory, the draft lottery will include 14 teams with the worst squad in the league, which is currently Charlotte, getting about a 25% chance of landing the #1 spot in the draft. With more on one Buckeye who's expected to go in the lottery, here is ESPN.com's Nick Friedel.
Jared Sullinger has dominated at times in the NCAA. He's taken the Ohio State Buckeyes to the Final Four this weekend, and he's proven that he can move up and down the floor when needed. That's a college game, though. Can he do it in the pros? That's the issue. He can score with his back to the basket, but he's a tweener. At 6'8", 6'9", you're not sure what position he's going to play, and you're not sure he's going to be big enough to battle the big 4s and maybe some 5s in his career. So Jared's going to have to maybe drop some pounds, show he can move up and down the floor better. We know he can score, but can he do it at the next level? That's what teams are going to have to balance when they decide whether or not they're going to take him in the draft lottery.
ESPN draft guru Chad Ford has Kentucky swingman Michael Kidd-Gilchrist going 2nd overall in the upcoming draft to the Washington Wizards. It's a pick that speaks a lot about Gilchrist's potential, although the freshman has been phenomenal during his first season of college ball and helping lead the Wildcats to the Final Four. Some scouts even see him as a younger, unrefined version of a Scottie Pippen because of his length, athleticism, and defensive tenacity. That versatility also reminds me of another former Wildcat, Jamal Mashburn. But there are legitimate questions about Gilchrist because you really don't know if his offense will develop at the next level. Sort of like Marvin Williams, and maybe even Florida's Corey Brewer. 2 players who are still trying to find their game at the NBA level despite their lottery status coming into the league.
All right, and don't forget, you can make your own draft picks for your favorite team in Chad Ford's NBA Lottery Mock Draft. Just go to our NBA homepage, scroll down till you see Play Now on the right side of your screen, and click on the Draft Lottery icon. And by the way, there's plenty of hoops action to catch on ESPN this week. First on Wednesday night, Dwight Howard and the Magic take on the Knicks at the Garden at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then our Friday doubleheader begins with the Mavs visiting Orlando at 8 p.m. Eastern. And that will be followed by the Blazers taking on Blake Griffin and Lob City. All games are on ESPN and ESPN3. That'll do it for this edition of the NBA 411. We thank you for watching and enjoy the games.